everybody. It's Lisa Sieversyk, and I am just waiting for Kaylin to join us today. So I don't know if you've watched any of our previous episodes, but Kaylin has always been a part of things, and I think she's being added. Oh, bring him on, wave, bring them on camera, add. Oh, she's a guest. Adding. I think she's going to join us. We're going to wonder where she is. She's always somewhere. She's kind of our on location kind of girl. I know she's here somewhere. Waving at her. It says she's adding. Oh, look
Lisa,
at that!
I'm here. Can you believe it? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you look fabulous.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Yeah.
I have humid hair.
So do I. So where are you at?
Well, I'm gonna reverse the camera. I'm gonna reverse the camera so you maybe guess where I'm at.
Okay, let's see. Oh, you're somewhere fun?
There's Scott. Wave at Scott. Yay! And guess what's coming down the street? The stormtroopers are coming. Oh my God! I timed this terrible.
Okay, be safe, Kaylin. Be safe.
Here they come. Okay, everybody, you're going to see live stormtroopers coming down the street.
Okay. Where are they? I'm looking.
Here they come, everybody. Oh.
Oh my gosh. There's a lot of them, Kaylin. Hope Scott's going to protect you. That's awesome. They're very official.
Okay, if you wonder why I like to come to this place, that's one of the reasons why.
You just never know what's around the next corner.
But I have to tell you, Lisa, until the music stops, I cannot hear a word you're saying.
Oh, okay.
So hang on, let me get back to my quiet spot. The stormtroopers are going back to the whatever vehicle they fly.
Right, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, okay, now the stormtrooper music has stopped, and now I'm back ready to talk to you.
Awesome. I love that.
You would think I planned that, but I really didn't.
Oh, I was gonna say that was really good. That hasn't ever happened before, so I thought maybe you did. Next time I
didn't.
I want Goofy to be like in our video with us, right? Like that.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? That would be awesome. I'm holding the phone close to my ear so I can hear you.
Right. So, do you want it? So, should we talk about closing costs today?
Yeah, let's talk about closing costs. You know, if you're buying Disney World, there's going to be lots of closing costs.
Yes, there is. That's a really expensive purchase.
It would be. You know, maybe you can get, get a timeshare at, the Tower of Terror or something. I don't know.
Ooh, that'd be loud. You wouldn't get much sleep.
Yeah.
No sleep.
You wouldn't have many guests, let me tell you.
No.
So, yeah,
No.
closing costs are always a big question for buyers. What's this going to cost me? I mean, I'm buying a house, and then I have all these costs. So, Lisa, what are the costs for buying a home?
Yeah, so they're going to be a lot different than buying a commercial property such as Disney World. So in your closing costs, you're going to have any underwriting fees or processing fees from the lender. You're going to have your appraisal. You're going to have a flood certification.
We talked about that last week, actually.
Yeah, flood certs. Yeah, so we always do that. Just make sure you're not floodplains. You can see your video from last week. You're going to have things. Sometimes there's tax service fees or things depending on which state that you're buying in. In Iowa, we actually don't charge for those, but I know other states do. And then we have we have our version of title insurance in Iowa, which is Title Guarantee. Other states have title insurance policies. And then we have our closing fee for the entity that's going to do your closing. So for Iowa, typically it is a closing attorney does our closings. Other states have it a little bit different than that.
Right.
That's kind of it. And then I would say the second most asked question, right, is, can I roll that into the loan amount?
Yeah, actually you can. I'm answering that question for you, but you do that as part of the purchase. You write into your offer that the seller will provide you a credit for closing costs, called
Yeah.
closing costs and prepaids, because there's
And
closing
prepaid.
costs and then there's what we call prepaids, which are like your first year of homeowners insurance, setting up your escrow and that sort of thing. So you can roll that into your offer. So you make an offer of, let's say, $250,000 with $3,000 in closing cost credit. So the
Correct.
seller is providing you a credit off that purchase price to help you cover your closing costs and prepaid. So that can be done in the purchase and it's part of the negotiation.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I would say, like I always think, working with a great realtor and explaining that so that the seller understands then what their net proceeds are is really important, because that's the seller's question, right? Is like,
Yes, exactly.
why
They
have
always ask that question.
why
So what does that mean for me? Right. What does that? And I say, well, it's the net offer essentially. So you're being offered, if the offer is $250 with $3,000 in closing cost credit, that means the offer to you is $247. So if that's not agreeable, you can always counter offer on that. The buyer can raise that price with still a closing cost credit. It's whatever that net number to the seller is agreeable to them. That's and a lot of sellers actually did that when they bought. So they
right?
understand what a closing cost credit is because they use that to help them. And I explained that to sellers. I said, not all buyers have that large down payment plus the reserves that they need to sustain that purchase or as a requirement of the lender. I said it has nothing to do with their ability to buy. It has to do with their cash on hand.
Correct. Yes. And I think that that's the thing, is that you don't want to think just because a buyer is asking for a seller to contribute to their closing costs, that doesn't mean that it's not a good buyer or they're not a secure or a really great get the loan.
Exactly. And the lender is asking, like Lisa, you'll have that conversation with your buyers to say, if you can ask the seller to provide $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is in closing cost credit, that just helps you with your cash on hand, your reserves that you need for the months coming up, and it just really makes that transaction a little sweeter for that buyer to get into that house without being able to buy a new toilet paper roll.
Right.
I meant paper towel holder, not toilet paper.
Right. And
that's one of the things I bought. My son bought a townhome down here last year. And so, one of the reasons I'm here this week is it's his birthday. His birthday's tomorrow. But also I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm also doing that mom thing, So I went out to Target and I got, he didn't have a paper towel holder. That's what I was trying to say. So I bought him a paper towel holder, a cutting board,
Right.
So, a Pyrex dish with a lid so I can make lasagna, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm doing here this week. I'm doing that mom thing.
That's awesome. That's so good.
Yeah.
Has to appreciate that. But you're right.
Yeah,
like if you're putting all of your funds and you have no reserves left towards the transaction, that money can help it so that they have a couple $1,000s left to do some things.
Yeah, because sometimes that house doesn't come with a washer dryer. The seller's taking it with them. They won't leave it. It's they probably bought it brand new. They want to take it with them. It's that sort of thing. So you need a little cash on hand to you got to wash your clothes. So or you have to replace a dishwasher, or you just want to paint. Even simple things like that. You need a little cash on hand so you're not too strapped. So those closing cost credit can make a real difference in that transaction for the buyer. And it really isn't something a seller should be concerned about in terms of the ability for that buyer to proceed with the transaction.
Correct. Yeah. And actually, if you're we also do a lot of USDA loans at 100% financing, which that seller credit can then be then they're really sometimes bringing little to no money to closing, which again, it's a really good buyer, but it helps them in the transaction just because of cash reserve or different things that they need. Yeah,
exactly. I don't think Hollywood Studios would qualify for a USDA loan.
I think that in order to buy it, I think you might make too much money for those minimum required down payments.
I think so. Actually, I agree. So, well, we have a
Yeah.
fast pass coming up here, Lisa. So
Oh,
I will
you,
say goodbye
oh,
to
what
our
ride are you
listeners.
going on?
What's that?
What, what ride is your fast pass for?
It's for Toy Story Mania. They just opened Toy
Oh.
Story Land here June 30th, and so I came here in order to enjoy the new Toy Story Land.
Oh, awesome. Good. Well,
Yeah.
you have fun, Kaylin. Thank you for joining us from humid Florida.
All righty.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.